West, of course, where many jobs have been lost in attempts to save the spotted owl. We'll talk about that and other things with Ann Wilson and Nancy Wilson after I remind you that tomorrow night's guest is Dr. Wesley Hunter's Jr. He's acting Associate Administrator of NASA's Office of Space Science. He runs the exploration of the solar system for NASA, and that should be fascinating. This is the Larry King Show. We're in Washington. We welcome to our microphones from across the country in Seattle by satellite Ann Wilson and Nancy Wilson of the Love Mongers. Thank you, ladies, for being with us.
Well, hi, Larry. This is Ann Wilson. I just want to say real quick that Nancy is not here this evening. You just have Ann. And
Just Ann.
Yes, and I brought with me Howard Leese, our guitarist. Nancy's very ill, and she says she's sorry.
Oh, I hope she's all right.
Just got me and Howard.
How are you, Howard?
I'm very well, Larry. We also have Kim Bale from Soundgarden. He's here, too, one of the bands from Seattle.
Okay, but let's concentrate with Ann for a while, okay?
Okay.
All right, Ann, you want to give us a little history first of what this is Thursday?
Okay, well, first of all, it's Thanksgiving. Of course, there was these pioneers and these Indians, and, you know, they got together and made this big holiday. And so we chose this day to put on a show of all the Seattle groups who live in an area which is a very endangered area but still has not been ruined yet ecologically. And the show is just going to feature 4 songs from Soundgarden, 4 songs from the Love Mongers, 4 songs from who else? Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Alice in Chains. And
Now,
with a little bit of talk in between.
And Westwood One is sending this out across America on radio stations.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and the purpose now, is this a pro-environment group, a pro-job group? What is the concept?
The concept here is pro-environment. It's also pro-people, so it's very understanding of those people who are losing their jobs. But it is a bunch of people who want to talk about how can we have both? How can we change things in the future to have the environment and, like, maybe change our jobs to still keep them, but not be wrecking the environments just to make a living.
Do many people in the logging industry and others, or are they aware of this?
Well, you know, I think they are on a certain level, but we haven't heard from them much. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have not heard from them. They are, in fact, aware of it, and it's just going out as a big old bargy message, I guess. You know, we're just saying, let's save the environment and let's talk about the rest of it, you know.
Have you always been involved in causes?
Yes, especially the environment. Lately, more sort of, you know, political ones, like the Love Mongers were instrumental in the Clinton-Gore campaign, just because we played at the Al Gore rally here in Seattle, and then again at the Clinton Victory Party on election night. And by the way, I want to take this opportunity to say to you, Larry, thank you from me for making this presidential election the most people-oriented one ever. It really, really made a difference, and I was aware of all you did to get people on there and get all, like, people talking together. It was really great. Thank you.
Well, we sure involved the public, didn't we?
Boy, howdy.
How about Mr. Gore? I would imagine this would be something he would ardently support.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a very smart man, and I think that this is the cause that is inside his heart, you know, inside his soul. And I know that a lot of us here in Seattle in the music industry are looking to him to be the one that we can write to, you know, the one who we can count on to carry the message.
Why did you leave Heart?
Well, I didn't leave Heart. I was going to clear that up, too. Heart is not over. Heart is making an album in the studio in Seattle right now. It's still just as strong as ever. But the Love Mongers is a group that Nancy and I do in our spare time that's more of an acoustic group, and we do more benefits, don't make any money, just, you know, just kind of blow off steam.
Heart is still Heart.
Definitely, yeah.
There is a Heart. Howard, are you with Heart, too?
Right. 17 years, Larry.
Okay, and then separate the difference for me. What do the Love Mongers do that Heart doesn't do?
Well, you know, I think Heart is it's very much of a rock band. It's got the big hard edges. It rocks hard. It's hot. You know, it's loud. It's pretty apolitical so far. The Love Mongers have been they've been acoustic. We don't make any money. We just go and do things because we want to do them for the sake of playing. How
many people in Heart?
4.
How many in the Love Mongers?
4.
Same four.
No, Nancy and I are in the Love Mongers, plus two friends of ours by the name of Sue Ennis and Frank Cox. They're just old friends.
Howard
friends,
just
you know.
plays guitar with Hart then.
Right.
That's right.
And our drummer is Danny Farmasi.
Yeah, we're thinking about two different bands here, but let's think about the environment, you know.
Okay, I just wanted to, sort it out that there is a Hart.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, listeners can call 1-800-BE-A-HERO to contribute, and this is a great idea, to displaced timber families. There's families in the timber industry who have been displaced by environmental codes and the like. You can contribute to them by calling 1-800-BE-A-HERO. That'll take place all day Thursday, and we'll be right back with Ann Wilson, Howard Lee. It's Leese, right?
Right.
Howard Leese, the drummer with Hart, is also with us. And Ann Wilson, of course, of the Love Mongers. We'll be hearing the music of which? I mean, we'll be hearing Hart or the Love Mongers? Oh, we're going to be hearing music of Hart as Rock the House Live as we come back on breaks. And if you want to talk to Ann Wilson or Howard Leese of the Love Mongers and Hart and the big Thanksgiving special on many of these Westwood stations, 2-hour special this Wednesday, want to call in now, 703-685-2177. Back after these messages.
You're listening to The Larry King Show, live from Washington, D.C. Here again, Larry King.
And you're listening to the music of Hart, and the group The Love Mongers, which features more acoustics, will be playing on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, as part of Westwood One's Rock and the Environment Thanksgiving Special. It's a support of the environment and help to people who are being displaced by the uprooting of families in the timber business based in Seattle. Why Seattle, Ann, by the way? We're going to go to calls momentarily. A lot of people calling in. Why Seattle?
Well, I think Seattle could be looked on as a microcosm of some parts of the country that are not yet ruined, and people who really don't want that to happen. I think that's why Seattle. And plus, the Seattle music scene is here, and in this particular city, most of the bands are like an extended family. Everyone knows everybody. Everyone has a lot of the same cares.
By the way, Seattle as a music center. Tell us
It is
about
now, yeah.
I mean, is it?
It's the center
Well,
of
yeah.
the universe right now, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, why?
it's-
Why, Howard?
I just think there's been a lot of great bands here that they're unadulterated with the show business aspect of. It's a reaction to the glamour and the glitziness of the Los Angeles, New York sort of typical rock business machine. The bands here grew up without any of those considerations. They want to act like themselves and dress like themselves and play their own music, and they really don't care about any of that stuff. And because of that, the kids have adopted them as sort of a rebellious spirit.
Yeah.
How are the recording studios?
Well, there's one in particular that's really great.
One special one that we like called Bad Animals, yeah.
Yeah, we just opened one ourselves called Bad Animals, and it's great. It's probably, top 5 in the world right now, I can say without exaggerating. It's
Do you
great.
do you travel a lot? Does the band travel a lot?
Yeah, we do. We spend probably, I don't know, half our time out traveling because you have to take your music to the people physically or else they don't think you really exist. So,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
yeah,
You can't do it just recording.
right.
And also,
Well,
I
not
imagine
really,
you
no.
like to perform, right?
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, give me a stage. I feel like Ethel Merman sometimes.
How did, before we take a break, come back and go to calls, how did Hart start?
Well, we started way back during the Vietnam War when one of the guys in a band became my boyfriend, and we went up to Canada together rather than him going into the Army, and we started a band up there and in Vancouver, and we named it Hart, and it just kind of came together up there. A bunch of other Americans who were up there for the same reason and who were rock and roll players joined this band, so we had a little nest of Americans in exile up there in a rock band, and Howard joined, although he wasn't a draft evader, and that's how it began.
What happened with the boyfriend?
Oh, well, whatever
well.
happens with boyfriends, Larry.
Wherever they go, the great boyfriend villa in the sky.
Yeah, the big boyfriend drawer, I guess. No, come on. No,
we'll
he's doing fine now. He's fine. He's with another woman.
Now, who's the other voice there laughing?
We have Craig Kasnoff here, who is the producer of the Thanksgiving show that we're talking about, the Lighthawk show.
Craig, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Are
can.
you close to my... Where is the show going to take place?
Well, the show, it's a pre-recorded from live concerts, and Marcia Richardson out of Westwood One was produced.
I see.
Was the other person that produced it. It's airing all this week at over 130 stations nationwide.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back and go to your phone calls on the subject of rock music, the environment. Ann Wilson of Heart and the Love Mongers. First, these messages.
You're listening to The Larry King Show, live from Washington, D.C. Here again, Larry King.
Let's go to your calls for Ann Wilson, the gang from Heart, and the Love Mongers, all going to be part of the Westwood One Rock and the Environment Thanksgiving special. They're with us by satellite from Seattle. Batavia, New York. Hello.
Hello, Ann.
Hi.
I'm a big fan of yours.
Hi. Well, thanks.
Is it possible I could talk to you off the air sometimes? I love you. I want to marry you.
Are you married, Ann?
I am not married, and I always welcome a marriage proposal.
And now...
Although I don't know if I want to go live in New York. How would you like to come and live out here?
Yeah. Ann. Well...
I'm just being honest.
Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Hello.
Yes, Larry. I am a professor at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And I have a doctorate in environmental studies, and I thought since we were discussing the environment, I thought I might call in and give you my viewpoint. I won't take much of your time. Don't worry. I'll make it quick.
Well, that's what this is for.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I have spent a considerable amount of time studying the environment, of course, and mainly the deforestation problems in the Northwest and all over the world. And I think that there is a message being brought out that is not conveying the truth. People seem to think that we are in danger of possibly getting rid of all the trees in the world, and that's not going to happen. The figures being used to describe just how much damage is being done to the forest they're completely irrelevant, because there is no way in the world that we are going to get rid of all these trees. And I think it's doing a disservice to the American people, because the true environmentalist message, of simple responsibility is being overshadowed by a lot of the militant groups and the ones who get all the press and make a big deal. And now you want to, find other ways to employ these loggers who are not doing any damage to the environment. They shouldn't have to find new jobs. They are posing no danger, and they are being blamed for something that is just being blown into a political issue and is being used as political fire, and they are the ones being paid for it.
I want to comment, Ann?
Well, yes, I agree about the trees. I really do, because we all know about replanting and all that. But I think when we talk about the timber cutting industry, we're talking more about species that lose their habitats by the forests being removed for a certain amount of time. What about owls and the other animals? I mean, trees can be replenished, but species can't, That's the real question we're talking about.
When they cut down the trees and they clear-cut the trees, they just replant them with single-species tree farms. Those don't really regenerate the forest. The forests are being cut down at a rate of 60,000 acres a year. You're talking about, you have your figures. Well, here's just some plain figures. 90% of the ancient forests have been clear-cut. The tourism in our forest generates 9 times more income than the logging does. How about the drugs? 40% of the world's medicines are derived from natural sources. Taxol and a bunch of other new drugs that they're finding. If we cut down all these ancient trees, we'll never know if we cut down the last tree that saved the world from AIDS or whatever kind of medical cures that are still in the forest.
Well put. Carmel, California, for Ann Wilson and the gang in Seattle. Hello.
Hi, good evening, Larry. Enjoy the show as usual.
Thank you.
Miss Wilson, it's a really great pleasure to talk to you. I followed Hart since the Dreamboat Annie days.
Oh God, you must be getting tired. No, that's an old one.
No,
I'm sorry.
you guys really, you've had terrific musicians all the way through. I'm a former rock musician
Thank you.
myself and really, really enjoyed the music. Several questions. First one would be, what happened to your first drummer? I know you had a studio drummer on the sessions with Dreamboat Annie, if I'm not mistaken, but then you kind of had a husky guy that reminded me a little bit of John Bonham, really laid it down. But I like the new guy now, too. Second question is, are there any ecological events planned with the new administration? And, to sort of put forward an issue that maybe needs to be presented to the American public. And three, what do you see as the most pressing issue facing us here on the West Coast as far as the environment is concerned?
Okay, so the first one was about the drummer.
Mike DeRozier.
Mike DeRozier was his name. He was from Seattle, is from Seattle, still lives here.
Still plays drums.
Still plays drums. Bands just kind of are only as good as they're getting along, As
He's
good
in the
as...
studio right now with
Yeah.
Roger Fisher, our original guitar player. The two of them are working on something, so we'll see.
And then what was your second question again?
About any because from what I gathered, you were a supporter of Clinton Gore, as
Definitely, yeah.
And I was wondering, any events planned in conjunction with the administration to sort of inspire us as far as or inform us about any ecological issues or...
I don't think there's anything currently planned, is there?
There is actually. There's something called the Northwest Timber Summit, which they're trying to get together now, and we are active in that, and as much as we can do, we will do because we believe in that. And your third question?
No time for it. I got a break. We'll come back after the news headlines with more of Ann Wilson, Howard Leese, and the gang in Seattle. This Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, on many of these stations, Westwood One's Rock and the Environment Thanksgiving Special. Ann Wilson with Heart and the Lovemongers. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System. Let's go back to your calls for Ann Wilson, Howard Leese, and the gang in Seattle, all involved with this big Thanksgiving Day, Westwood One's Rock and the Environment Thanksgiving Special. By the way, the number to call to help those displaced timber families, 1-800-BE-A-HERO, 1-800-TIMBER families, 1-800-BE-A-HERO, 1-800-BE-A-HERO. Ann Wilson of Heart and the Lovemongers, and we're listening to Heart music as well. And we go to San Antonio. Hello.
Hello, Ann.
Yes. Hi.
It's been a wonderful inspiration, your music and everything that you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you for being an intelligent environmentalist.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. You're welcome.
And are you open for another marriage proposal?
Larry, don't you screen these calls?
No, we do not screen these calls because we believe in the free practice of American. You sound jealous.
No.
Well, let me ask you something about yourself before I just accept your proposal. Are you married?
No, I'm not.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
How old are you, Ann?
I'm 42.
How old are you, caller?
30.
Do you like them
Well, I
young?
don't see that as a problem, though. I don't see that as a problem.
Do you date
anymore.
younger men?
Sure. I just date, if I want to be with a guy, he just has to be a great person. That's all I care about.
Are you a great person, caller?
Yes, I am.
Will you contact Ann in Seattle?
You don't mind moving up to the Northwest, then?
No, in fact, I have family up there.
Well, get in touch. This is the Larry King Dating Service.
It's a
We go
Larry
to-
King matchmaking service.
We go to Cincinnati with Ann Wilson.
Good evening.
Hi.
This show, I'm still a little unclear. Is it live or is it Memorex?
It's definitely live.
Well, explain it. It is tapes from concerts, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, it is.
But they're in-studio people live, right?
Right, we are here live in the studio, but the show that is being broadcast all week long on the Environment from Seattle is tapes of all these bands doing different concerts at different times. And it's all been cut together, and we all kind of got together and did some interviews and, made a show out of it.
You got that?
What bands are included?
It includes Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, the Lovemongers, Alice in Chains, and Nirvana. I guess those are the main bands in Seattle right now, although you don't see them around Seattle that often lately. They're kind of out on the road, but we're all in one big show.
Onward to Galleon, Ohio. Hello.
Hi, Ann. Pleasure to speak to you, and I really commend you for what you're doing along with the guy from Soundgarden and your other band member.
Thank you.
I did have a question, two questions really. The first question is for all those who would like to ask you questions about either, be it wedding proposals, music, or the environment. Is there a P.O. box or something that people can write to you?
Okay, where can people write to you so you can handle all these things?
Yeah, you can write to our management company, actually. That's the best place because they always know where we are.
Okay, it's Ann Wilson, care of?
Care of HK Management.
HK Management.
345 Maple Drive.
345 Maple Drive.
Beverly Hills, California.
Beverly Hills, California.
Yeah.
What's the zip?
90210.
Yeah.
Well, what else could the zip be? 90210. Okay, here comes the mail with pictures, please. Ashland, Ashland, Ohio. Hello.
Let me clarify that. That's Ashland, Oregon.
Okay, you've clarified it.
And I want to say, Ann, first off, I'm already in the Northwest.
Hi.
Hi. I have a comment first to an earlier caller who was studying the environment and saying that we don't have a problem.
Yes.
Obviously, he's never been to the Northwest, has he?
Well, you know, I don't think so, because just to plant new trees where old ones have been cut down is not really looking at the whole picture. I think there's this new thing. It's called old growth. You know.
Yeah. Right.
And how that affects the entire ecosystem. It just can't be replaced that easily.
Yeah.
And we can't be so cavalier about the trees, basically.
I'm totally in agreement. I've been here for most of my life, and I've seen it being devastated. But I guess what my question was is, how can we we're the environmental mecca of Oregon, how can we help down here? What can be done on a local level?
Well, I think agitate. That's all you can do. I think, it's a personal issue. If you're the type of person that has the personal power and focus to get involved in local government, you can always do that. Other than that, you can do things like bury your car or grow your own vegetables or stop building roads or those types of things that are hard, answers.
You can be an informed consumer, too. You can vote with your wallet. You can find out what the companies are doing, which ones are environmentally, conscious, and buy your products and consume from those companies and, boycott the ones that aren't.
In other words, get involved.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's
on whatever level.
That's why we're here. I mean, that's what we really have to offer here, is just our own focus, and telling people from our little soapbox, however big it is, to just, we're involved, so you get involved. That's what we really have to change here, is just people's mentality. When that's changed, then the rest will follow, like the song says.
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Free your mind,
Grand Rapids, hello.
How you doing, Larry?
Hi.
Hey, Ann. I seen you guys about 20 years ago in concert. It was great, I got to tell you. But anyway, this is in rebuttal to the so-called professor from Chapel Hill.
I doubt it was a professor.
Yeah, we were kind of thinking about that, too.
Yeah. Did you happen to listen to National Public Radio this weekend? They had a special on there about the Nobel Prize-winning scientists got together, and they wrote this very short, very concise document about the environment, and it's kind of a disclaimer, like, if we don't get our act together, they're not to blame.
Yeah, well, that's...
I mean, and these are not militant people. These are Nobel Prize-winning scientists saying it.
Right, and that says a mouthful. I think that scientists are often looked at as being like kooky scientists until the issue is already on top of us. When it's already too late, then they go, oh, they were right,
I would say you'd have to be wacko today to think the environment's not in trouble.
Yeah, I think so,
I mean, you're playing with the deep end. East Lansing, Michigan, hello.
Yeah, I also have a rebuttal to that guy who said he was some kind of professor.
He said he was a PhD.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I find that hard to believe that you wouldn't look at the whole picture if you were a PhD.
exactly.
Yeah.
But, did you ever read the book, a Dr. Seuss book called The Lorax?
Sure.
No.
It's about how the last tree gets cut down and what happens. And it starts with this guy who comes to town and starts cutting down trees to make some kind of garment. And they show slowly how first, the certain animal goes and the smaller animals go, and then the fish go, and the birds go, and the snails go. It's just an excellent book. But my other point was that, it's not so much trees being cut down in the U.S. I think that's a problem. But the real, I think, issue is the rainforest being cut down, like in the Amazon. I mean, they're going like the size of Tennessee every year. I mean, the area of the state of Tennessee every year. And those are the kind of, that rainforest, not only does that give oxygen to the earth and everything else, but as someone mentioned, I think it's over there in Washington, I think it was Craig, or your drummer, who said that, all these different biotechnological things that are found there every day. I mean, they can't even classify all the things that are there. And it's just, I think if we cut down trees here, that sends a message to people down there that, it's okay. And they're trying and they're trying to industrialize, and I think we should tell them that it's not okay.
Very well said.
Absolutely, it's not okay, but we should resist taking on in our minds the attitude of it's the white man's burden. I mean, that's an old, outmoded thing. I think we just have to go down there and stop it. I think it's beyond the stage where to set an example is good enough. It has to be more aggressive at this point, but that's just my opinion.
Our guest is Ann Wilson and the gang, Howard Leese and others in Seattle, all with the Love Mongers and Heart, all part of this big Thanksgiving Day broadcast. Back after these messages. Of the Love Mongers, Indianapolis, hello.
Yes, hi. First of all, I wanted to say that I've been a big fan of Heart all the way back to Dreamboat Annie. And I had a question about the band's self-titled album that came out in the mid-'80s. It seems to take the band more in the direction from like rock and roll to sounding more like Air Supply. And I just wondered if the new record...
Ouch!
Is the new record going to be harder, or is it going to be the same power ballad?
It couldn't be any harder, dude. It's so much harder that you won't even believe your ears.
Yeah, it's nothing like that self-titled.
When you say harder, explain to me what that means.
Well, that means not the big bombastic Bic ballad. Those big over-the-top ballads everyone's been doing for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't any of those. I mean, it's a much heavier rock album. The
Nothing
lyric
I could hum.
content. Oh, definitely.
Oh, you can hum it. You can hum it.
You can hum it, but the contents of the lyrics are much heavier. I mean, we have a song called Rage. We have a song called Desire Walks On. I mean, these are social issues here. We're not just talking about I love you and you left me, so I'm sad. I mean, that's history now.
So these are politically heavy.
Yes, in a way.
And the music is more adventurous, too.
Any
Definitely.
sexual, too?
Yes. The politics of sex, yes.
Onward to Portland, Oregon. Hello.
Hi, Ann.
Hi.
I've been a fan of Heart since I was about 5. and I was wondering, 2 questions. When is the next album coming out? And 2, I've heard, the Love Monger stuff, and I always hear about them playing up in Seattle. Are you ever going to, come down to Portland or go on tour?
Well, well, first of all, the Heart album is probably going to be out, I would think, the end of May or the first part of June, because we're almost finished with it now. And then we have to go into the next phase, which is, make a few videos and set up the album and everything. And I guess the second half of your question was the Love Mongers going on tour. We may play some gigs around, but, the Love Mongers isn't about that. It isn't about canvassing the country and making the big bucks. It's just kind of like a thing that Nancy and I do to blow off steam and play our acoustic songs and play benefits or whenever the mood strikes us in little clubs or whatever. So it's hard to say. We're very spontaneous in the Love Mongers.
Seattle, hello.
Who's Heart? Kim Sale.
What?
Hello?
Yeah.
What'd you say, sir? He's gone.
Uh-oh.
Fan of yours, though.
Well, I didn't like that question anyway.
I hope you got security at the next concert. Houston, hello.
Hi, what do you suppose they're using that lumber for that they're clear cutting?
Well, I guess 1 out of 4 trees that are cut leaves the country and goes overseas. So I guess we're building houses in Japan, and we're doing all sorts of different things with them. We're also wasting a lot of trees making paper that just gets shuffled back and forth, and a lot of junk mail gets sent to everybody every day.
I think you're wrong. I think there's a lot of homes being built here, and you're going to clear cut. You don't want to use lumber to build homes. I think we're going to have problems.
No, sure we want to build homes. That's perfectly great. That's the best use of wood I can think of, really.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, like, we're not against Americans building homes by any means, but when you look at the numbers, it's that, like, you know, this large percentage of our wood is being sent overseas, a huge percentage, and I think it's too much. That's all.
Thank you. Pittsburgh with Ann Wilson, Howard Leese, and the gang in Seattle. Hello.
Hello?
Pittsburgh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello?
This past summer, I spent the summer in Oregon, and since I'd never been west of Ohio, you just hear about the deforestation, but when I actually saw it from my own eyes, you actually see how extensive these flooded areas are. And I just wanted to say that. And I don't know what the previous professor was saying, but also the fact that it just looks bad. Just taking that commuter flight from Portland to Seattle, I mean, it's just amazing how bad nature looks whenever they
Yeah, it's really amazing. They do this thing where they cut back all the trees, but they leave like maybe 10 or 15 feet right next to the freeways. So when you go along the freeways, you don't notice the big scars as much because you don't see them from where you're driving. But when you go overhead, you see these amazing, great, big, ugly gashes in the earth. And, you know, that's the way it is all over the world. But when it's your own backyard, it breaks your heart. And that's, you know, hard to take.
We'll be back with our remaining moments with Ann Wilson, Howard Leese, and the gang in Seattle with Heart and the Love Mongers. They are part of Westwood One's Rock and the Environment Thanksgiving Special, a 2-hour program. They'll repeat it many times through the day, Thursday, supporting the environment and also supporting displaced timber families. The number you'll be asked to call is 1-800-BE-A-HERO. Back after these messages.
You're listening to The Larry King Show, live from Washington, D.C. Here again, Larry King.
The music of Heart, and we go back to the calls. Seattle, hello.
Hi, are we still on the show with Ann Wilson?
We are.
Excellent. Hi, Craig Yaznov, are you there?
Right there.
Yep.
Hey, Craig, this is Joe, mashallah. I thought I'd say hello. Congratulations, everyone. I'm very glad that you have this show happening. I'm glad that that music now is once again representing kind of, you know, the consciousness and political arena. There's been a long time since I feel that's been happening, and it's coming back, and you guys are leading that, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I'd like to salute you in doing that. And Ann, I had the opportunity once to perform with you during what was happening with Kuwait, you know, our little thing that we did at the Paramount to support the troops.
That's right, yeah. That's right.
And that was a wonderful gesture on your part to come out into public and to make that statement and to give the young people, if you will, an opportunity to kind of get together and blow off some steam, and also just to celebrate our unity and try and, you know, have their voices heard about what was happening.
Yeah, well, at the time, it wasn't really clear what that show was about. It was kind of like a, you know, support the troops by bringing them home. We're against the war, but we love the troops, you know, type of a thing. The focus wasn't very clear, but I think you're right that the unity was the main thing, and people were upset, and they wanted to get together, and that's what that show served the purpose of.
Yeah. And, you know, I live here in Seattle, and so I'm grateful that you've built the studio here, you know, and that you're bringing in to our hometown here, and look forward to hearing you guys some more, and then keep it going and keep going with rocking the environment. I'm really, really glad you guys are working this.
Thank you. Raleigh, North Carolina. Hello.
Yes, I have a comment for the caller who's using Dr. Seuss as a source.
Well, of course, you know he is a doctorate.
Oh, yeah. But I am not a PhD, but I would recommend Rush Limbaugh to anyone listening.
Why? Is he an environmentalist? He's gone. Albany, New York. Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
I wanted to commend Ann and everyone there on what they're doing. I wanted to echo what I think Craig said about there being a way to support the environmental movement that doesn't have to be political activism, but instead voting with your wallet. I happen to be an owner of a green store, which there's many throughout the country that have popped up in the last 2 years, probably over 200 now. And in these stores, there are products that we believe, are alternatives that are more earth-friendly. And if people would support these kind of stores, it's another way to get involved and help protect the environment.
That's right.
Do it.
Oakland, California. Hello.
Hi, Larry.
Hi.
Hi, Ann.
Hi.
I just wanted to tell anyone who's listening who is not aware of Heart, the song that I got turned on to that really just blew my mind was Crazy on You. And anyone out there listening, if you want to follow the development of Heart, start out with what I think is the best, and then take it from there.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really nice. Burlington, Vermont. Hello.
Aloha, Larry. Welcome
Hi.
back. I hope you enjoyed your vacation. You deserve it.
Thank you.
And I'm a longtime fan of Heart, and Magic Man is still one of my favorites. The only time I ever got to see you was back in '82 with this kid named John Cougar.
Who?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Mellencamp.
Right.
Yeah, that was a very uncomfortable tour for us because we were in kind of a mediocre plateau period, shall we say. And here comes this kid, John Cougar, who was opening up for us, whose album was #1 across the country.
Yeah.
And so, we had to follow him every night. And
that's weird.
Although it worked out well, it was very
Great.
it was like a reality check for us.
My question, are you optimistic about Bill Clinton?
Yes, I'm very optimistic about him just because I think that he has looked the American people in the eye in a way we haven't been looked in the eye for quite a while. And I think that a lot of, if what he says is true, a lot of the programs he has are going to be hard, and we're going to have to just kind of grin and bear it, and pay the piper a little bit. But where does this strength come from? Where does the money come from if not from ourselves? We are the stockholders. We own this place. We're in charge. So we just need someone to kind of guide us through these new programs.
Well said.
Love the way he talks.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being with us. And
Hey, Larry, I got one thing to ask you. What's for dinner at Duke Zebras?
tonight we're going to have, they have, tonight they have the stuffed cabbage.
Sounds great.
Hey, Ann, anytime you want to come, you're my guest.
Thank you.
You could leave the guys there.
Thanks very much for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Ann Wilson and the group of Heart and the Love Mongers. Don't forget the big program on Thanksgiving Day on many Westwood One stations. Check your newspapers for time and station. We're going to pause for news on the hour, word from your local stations, and then Open Phone Americas on the Mutual.